There we go. All right. So welcome in everyone to this lead conversion Zoom that I'm going to be doing here. The main thing I guess I want everybody to know, I'm going to kind of be talking a lot, of course, about exactly how we do things and how we've been successful. But I'm going to do questions at the end. And if you have any objections that you want, like through the script as I'm going through it that you think of, type them in the chat, and then we'll kind of try to hit all those as well. And then, of course, we'll kind of open it up at the end to see if anyone has any other questions. But little introduction for me, myself. So, of course, my name is Michael Bass. I've been in real estate now about 9 years, specifically in the Houston area. And currently, I am the team leader of Cityside Properties Group. Of course, we're brokered by eXp Realty. We closed around 570 homes last year, so very proud of that. We're on pace to do around that many this year as well, so haven't really slowed down much. And in my opinion, how we communicate with our clients is definitely the difference between, closing 12 to 15 homes a year and closing 12 to 15 homes a month. It's just how comfortable those clients are with you and how quickly you can get them comfortable with you. This script I'm going to show you, and I'm going to share my screen here in a second. That's what I'm going to talk about. This is the exact script I use for any buyer that I ever talk to ever. This could be a friend or even a friend or colleague I met at the gym. Could be anyone, everyone. I use this script. It works. So yeah, let's get into it. And let me share my screen here. So everybody should be able to see my screen now. And so this is what, oh, turned off my monitor. Hang on one second. Okay, can everybody see this? The buyer's info sheet?
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. So this is specifically what we use. And I'm going to use we a lot. Cityside Properties Group is my team. So that's what we use, and that's what I teach. And I teach this in our script practice that we have for all of our Team Legacy folks that are in here. So it seems pretty straightforward, but I'm actually going to talk to you guys about every point, what we're supposed to get on that point, maybe some examples. And then at the end, I'm going to do a kind of like a little role play so you guys can hear exactly how that should sound, like how it should sound all put together. And then that way you will, hear how it flows. So first and foremost, how do we lead into this script? So it's actually quite easy. I always lead in. This doesn't matter where the lead came from. It could have been from KV Core, Zillow, your local MLS lead, whatever. It doesn't matter. You simply ask them what questions they have. And let me give you an example. Let's say they reached out about a specific property, right? So they're like, hey, I'm interested in 123 Main Street. This is an email. So when you call them and you say, hey, this is Michael with Cityside Properties Group. You inquired into me. So you always say that. You always say, hey, you inquired into me about this. That right there tells them that you're not trying to sell them anything or anything like that. They reached out to you. So, hey, you inquired in about 123 Main Street, just wanted to check and see what all questions you had about it. And if you notice my tone of voice, I'm not like pushy or aggressive or anything like that. It's almost like you're a customer service rep at first, because you don't want them to, I don't know, you don't want them to feel pressured. If they feel pressured right away, they'll hang up on you or whatever. So you ask them that, hey, what all questions do you have about this property, about this location, about this? When you do that, they're going to ask the question, right? And it could be, I couldn't see the square footage. What schools is this zoned to? Is it a saltwater pool, or is it, chlorine? Anything and everything. Say, okay, great, right? And you write that down, or you keep it in your head, and you say, that's a great question. Let me pull that up and I'll check on it. And then seriously, you probably already have the listing pulled up, but as you pull it up, and this is all within less than a second, you say, hey, well, while I pull that up, I notice it's in this specific area. And this area might be, and I'm going to use Houston because that's where I live, might be in Katy or Pearland or wherever. And so you say, hey, I noticed it's in that Katy area. Is that the specific area you're looking to purchase within? And so immediately I've gotten into the script without them knowing that I'm in the script, but I know that I'm in the script. And that's an easy way to transition into it. And so let's talk about location. Seems really straightforward, of course, but buyers don't know a whole lot of, they're just unknowledgeable about all of this process. Let me just say that. Some of them are, of course, going to be experienced. They've bought and sold, 5, 6, 7 houses over their lifetime, sure. But some people might think that, well, Katy's out west. We want to see another property that's south. We don't want you to have to drive down south, or maybe we don't know if you work in that area. So we're just going to reach out to a local realtor there. And so if you don't ask them what all locations they're looking at, you might just be showing them the properties in Katy, but then the properties in Pearlands, which is down south, they're going to be, talking to another realtor down there, and you might not even know about it. So get all those locations out, right? So, hey, is that the specific area you're looking to purchase within? They're going to say, yeah, it is. Okay, great. So are you looking in Katy specifically? Or are you open to like Cypress? Or are you open, even down to like, I don't know, Sugar Land area, Richmond maybe, or are you really focused on Katy? And then when you ask those type of questions, and again, it's like a non-intrusive way of just getting information, they're going to talk to you a little bit. And that's what we want this conversation to be. We want it to be a conversation. So they're going to say, yeah, no, we want Katy specifically because of the schools, because of this, because of that. They'll give you information. They'll open up to you. So that's why we always lead off with location. Now, very important here, in between location and price, you're going to answer their question, whatever question they asked you before. So remember, write it down. Or remember it. Once you do this enough and you practice it enough, you won't forget what they asked you. But at first, it is easy to kind of get scattered a little bit. So write it down. So they asked you if it was a saltwater pool or a chlorine pool. Say, well, hey, I have the property pulled up now. I do see that it is a saltwater pool. Is that exactly what you guys were wanting? And the reason I don't pause, it's a saltwater pool, and pause, because let's say that that's whatever it is, the schools aren't correct, the square footage, whatever it is not what they wanted, they'll hang up. They'll just hang up on you. Like, it's because they've eliminated that property. They're not interested anymore. So they don't need to talk to you. But if you ask them a question, like you say, well, hey, that is a saltwater pool. Is that kind of what you guys were looking for? They're gonna be like, no, it's not. Hey, no worries. But you can immediately go back to them. Hey, no worries at all. I actually have a few in mind that do have whatever you're wanting, the schools, the square footage, whatever. And of course, we don't have these pulled up right now, but us as professionals know we for sure can find them properties that they're wanting. So lead with positivity, and then don't give them a chance to kind of go back and forth with you. Just go into the price. Well, hey, it's listed at 400,000. Is that around the price you're looking at? And so let's hit on price a little bit. So with price, it's really all about seeing how they came up with that number. So the $400,000, is that around what you're looking for? Yes, it is. Okay, great. Well, if you don't mind me asking, how'd you come up with that number? And they're going to say lots of things. I'm pre-approved. I was pre-approved 3.5 years ago. That's what I could afford. I used an online calculator through Zillow. And so when I plugged everything in, that looked accurate. I am fully pre-approved right now. Like, any of this stuff can come up. And you say, okay, great. And you kind of leave it here. It's VIP to not go into mortgage. Do not go into mortgage until mortgage. And I'll tell you more about that here in a minute. But once you see, hey, let's say they are pre-approved. Oh, great. What mortgage company did you end up going with? Wells Fargo. Oh, that's fantastic. Okay, move on. Do not go into the mortgage portion of it yet. And there is a specific strategy behind that, and I'm going to tell you guys in a minute. So that's it for price. And then we go to motivation. And so the motivation is very important. The reason it is very important is simply because they're going to tell you the exact reason they're moving to this area. This is important because we all have people that drag their feet And so they'll drag their feet in making an offer or making a move or whatever. And let's say that we get all the information through motivation. So we know that they have to move within 2 months because of the schools. They have 2 daughters, whatever it might be. You can use this in future conversations. So you can actually go to them and you can say, well, hey, I know you needed to move in 2 months. We actually only have about 40 days left now. I know we need to get your daughters into these school. Like, you bring things like that up, it relights the fire kind of. So motivation is there specifically, like, and let me tell you how you lead into it. You really just ask them like, hey, what's bringing you guys to the area? So, hey, I know we're looking at Katy. What's bringing you to Katy? They're going to tell you even more information. It's about the schools. It's a job transfer. Maybe they already live there. They're just renting, whatever it might be. And you can build some rapport with them. So if it's about the schools, oh, fantastic. How many kids do you have? You have 3 kids. Oh, man, what's their ages? Tell their ages. Are they in sports? Oh, that's phenomenal. And then you can ask them about Charlie that's in football or basketball. Then you can ask them about, Sydney that's in cheerleading or whatever she might be in. You can ask them about that later on. And that will for sure get you a client for life if you remember those little details. And so that's just building rapport. So if it's about a job, oh, that's awesome. Job transfer. Where'd you come from? And what are you doing? Oh, I'm a chemical engineer. I came from here. That's awesome. I have a buddy of mine that's a chemical engineer, which I really do. I'm not saying don't lie about that, but you can mesh with them on so many different things. And in this conversation we're having is all about meshing with them. Yeah, we're getting a lot of information, but if you don't mesh with them, they're not going to want to meet you at the property. They're not going to want to answer your calls and your texts the next time you reach out, any of that stuff. So that's the first part. And then we get into, do you own or do you rent? And you might find that out already based off the initial motivation. Like, they might say, yeah, I currently rent here. Oh, that's great. So if they rent, what do we need to know? We need to know when that lease is up. So when's your lease up? Oh, in 6 months. Okay, that's really good. Are you able to, make a move prior to that 6 months, or do we need to wait till closer to that 6 months to be able to make a purchase? All of these things will get you more information because, and I'm sure everybody in here has experienced this, if you don't ask these questions, what ends up happening is you schedule 3 properties. You go to those properties, you show them the properties, you're really excited, and then they tell you they have 6 months left on their lease, or you find that out after you drive 40 minutes. This just eliminates wasting time. That's it. I'm not saying that we're not going to fully nurture this client until they end up purchasing a house or selling a house or whatever, that we for sure are still doing that. This just eliminates the wasted time up front. So if they're renting, and their lease is up in maybe 3 months or 2 months or whatever, you can say little things like, oh man, we need to get after it then. We need to start showing you properties as soon as possible. That way we can get everything going. And it's just little things that you can say. If they own, oh, okay, no worries. Do you know if you're going to have to sell that house prior to you purchasing the next one? That's important, right? And I'd say 50-50. Some people know that they do. Some people are going to rent it out. Some people don't know because they haven't talked to or spoken to a lender as of yet. And so that, again, is just another way that we get more information. So what I always like to do too, if they do need to sell, is I always like to kind of say, oh, that's great. I'm so glad that you reached me because I can actually help you on both of those sides. And that way you don't have to, be calling around to all these agents. I'm actually a professional in both of these. And I have a wonderful promotion right now where I'm going to, give you X amount because you're utilizing me on both sides. You do not have to do that. That's just something I do. If they use me on both sides of the transaction, I end up giving them something, maybe 0.5% or something back on closing costs whenever they buy, if they sell first or whatever. But these are little things that you can say that will help you keep that client. So once you get finished with that motivation part, then it goes to the agent. So, hey, I assume, and this is, I'll say this, it's written here. I say this line only every time. It doesn't change. It's the exact same. So I say, hey, I assume you reached out to me directly because you're not working with an agent currently. Is that correct? And remember, they did reach out to me because they inquired through KV Core, Zillow, HAR, wherever, right? They inquired in through whatever that website was. So, hey, I assume you reached out to me directly because you're not working with an agent currently. Is that correct? They say no. Oh, perfect. Well, I look forward to earning your business, right? You assume the sell. And so you always want to assume the sell no matter what. But this actually is not a foolproof plan, right? So what you do after that is you say, well, how many homes have you been inside of? Have you guys taken a look at any homes yet? Why am I asking that? Well, the reason I'm asking that is based off their answer. I will know if they've seen homes with other realtors yet. And so let's say if they've seen, yeah, we've seen a couple. Oh, great. Did you go to open houses or did you call the sign to get into those? Like, how did you get into those? And then you find out, well, we called Jill and on her listing, and Jill ended up showing us 4 other properties. Oh, that's fantastic. Well, let me ask you, have you signed anything with Jill yet? Exclusively working with her, or do I still have the opportunity to earn your business? What is that? And that conversation changes in this whole initial conversation. This would come up. And again, it's about not wasting time, because you want to know that. You can explain to them the difference between a listing agent and a buyer's agent and how you're going to represent them and how they want exclusive representation on their side. All of that can come up in this agent side. The one thing I'll pause and say, if you have red flags, any red flags coming up on any of this, ask more questions. Just ask more questions. They're not your client yet. Like, you don't have a contract written and you don't have, like, no matter the price point, it doesn't matter. If there's red flags, ask more questions until you fully understand what's happening. So, agent. And then let's say we're past the agent here and we get to the mortgage. So the mortgage is the most difficult part to this whole script, especially in the first initial conversation. The reason why is simply people don't like talking about finances. Everybody's like, oh, I'll get approved for that. You don't have to worry about it. No worries. It's not an issue. I'm fine. I can afford it. And so there's little ways that you can bring them value to make them understand why they need to get pre-approved. And even if they are already pre-approved, we want to try to get them with one of our preferred lenders because we have trust in those lenders. We don't know who the lender is at Wells Fargo that this person's talking to. We never bash the other lender. Make that perfectly clear. I don't care if it's Chase or Wells Fargo, never bash them. There's just little things that you can ask them that helps a lot. So give you an example. Let's say in the example I used earlier, they were pre-approved through Wells Fargo. So I would say, hey, hey, I know you're approved through Wells Fargo. That's phenomenal. The very first step in the home buying process is getting pre-approved. So you're already actually past that. That's awesome. Let me ask you though, if I could save you, $75 to $100 a month on your mortgage, would you want to hear about that? The answer is yes, because they always will want to save money. And then once they say yes, you say, oh, that's perfect. I have a few lenders that I work specifically with, and I'm telling you, more times than not, they're able to save my clients, 50 to 100, sometimes even more monthly mortgage. And the way they're able to do that is by great interest rates, great prices on the loan product. Because I have a relationship with them, they usually always make the deal better for my clients. So it's always best for us to get multiple lenders to fight for your business. And that way we ensure that you're getting the best interest rate no matter what. So I'm going to go ahead and get blah, blah, blah to give you a shout. And you just assume that they're going to allow you to do that, which they do. They've already said, yes, they're interested in it. That's the easiest way to do that if they're already pre-approved. If they're already pre-approved, you just say, hey, if I could save you, $75 to $100 a month, would you want to hear about that? And here's the thing, again, you're not lying to them. Like, this has happened time and time and time again. Lenders can charge whatever they want to charge on their interest, and it's a crazy difference sometimes. And especially if you have really good relationships with some of your lenders, they're able to get you some really good deals. So that's one way that you can do it. The second way is, let's say that they're not pre-approved at all, right? Like, so you asked them up here, hey, 400 just kind of sounded good. I mean, I think that's what we could afford. We looked at some calculators or whatever. So, okay, good. Well, hey, I understand that you're looking at those calculators. Those are phenomenal tools. But realistically, the very first step in the home buying process is getting pre-approved. The reason behind that, it gives us a few things. It's going to give us that pre-approval letter, which is really required now for sellers in order to get you inside those homes. But it's also going to give us your exact purchasing power where we need to stay within in order to, do property searches. That online calculator that you use, it does the basic, it does your principal, your interest, taxes, and insurance, but it doesn't take into consideration any HOA fees, any additional hazard insurance, such as wind and hail, flood insurance that might be required. It doesn't really take any of that in consideration. So it's sometimes can be off, and that pre-approval letter and that purchasing power gets us that exact amount. Does that kind of make sense? And it's, you tell them this on the conversation. And if you hear again how I'm talking to you guys, this is exactly how I sound on the phone. I do not change that tone any, because it's not a pushy thing. It's not me being aggressive with them. It's not me like demanding it, because that can happen too. It's none of that. It's just informing them, giving them value on why they would need to get pre-approved first, and then moving forward and not over talking it. So this one's the hardest one, but with practice, you can really, you can really get good at getting everyone pre-approved. And fun fact here, I'm 100% on getting my clients with my preferred lender. Now, I don't say they use my preferred lender 100% of the time, but I'm 100% getting them to talk to my preferred lender. And it's only based off how I talk to my clients. And yeah, I mean, you want that. You want them to talk to your preferred lender. All right. So moving on, home criteria. So whenever you go to the home criteria, you would just, that one's pretty self-explanatory. You get any and all information that you can about the property. And I like what we wrote here. The more you know about their perfect home, the less homes you will have to show. I mean, how many of us have shown 20 homes, 30 homes to one client? It happens for sure. The reality is we didn't ask enough questions about their home criteria at the very beginning. And so we end up sending them 15 homes, to look at, hey, all of these fit your criteria. They want to go see them, and it just kind of snowballs from there. And then they expect that from that point forward. So they expect to see 5 to 7 homes every time they see properties with you. And that you can alleviate that by saying, by getting all of their information, the lot size, the pool, the garage, how many garage spaces, how many stories, the age, any and everything. I mean, I'm talking about any and everything. And some people will tell you, hey, we need a 3-bedroom, 2-bath with a 2-car garage. Like, if it has that, we're happy. And I seriously say to that, well, I mean, there's probably about, 7,000 homes that match that criteria. So we're going to have to get a little bit more specific, because that's just too many homes. Let's narrow it down. Let's narrow that down a little bit. And so it's okay to kind of just help them feel comfortable, joke around, laugh around a little bit, and it's completely okay. You don't have to be super serious, but get all the home criteria. And then for closing, so closing, you just summarize everything. Summarize pretty much everything that you said. So just say, well, hey, based off everything that we spoke about today, can't wait to get you in the house in Katy. I know that you're currently renting, your lease is up here in a couple months, so we'll definitely get you into something prior to that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to get you, I'm going to send you over the best, properties that have a saltwater pool. They're going to have 4 bedrooms, 3 baths. I'm going to have those 3-car garages. They're going to have all of that. And what we're going to do is we're going to pick the very top 3 to 4 homes to go check out this Saturday, this Thursday, this Wednesday, whatever it is. So we're going to get the very best on the market. And that way we know whenever we go see these, we're probably going to be making offers on one of those, because those are the absolute best. So my preferred lender is going to give you a call, or maybe that's already been scheduled. You're going to call the preferred lender, whatever it is, you build that in there as well. And then do you have any other questions for me right now before I, go ahead and do these property searches, send you some over? Let them ask any questions. Usually they don't. Okay, perfect. Well, I'm going to send this over to you in the next 30 or 45 minutes. And then I'm going to give you a shout tomorrow at 3, because you're talking to the lender at 2, and I'll see how that conversation went. And it's all about setting expectations, scheduling an appointment, and just go ahead and doing that on this initial call. So I know that seems like a lot, right? But this whole conversation should only take 5 minutes, maybe 6, 7 minutes if you're talking a lot, or maybe they have a lot of objections. So you have to try to overcome those objections. But it should only take about 5 minutes. And so what I'm going to do now, and I want everyone to, and thanks, Larry, for putting this down there. Anyone who can think of objections right now, you thought about this and like, well, what if they said this? What if they said this? Put them in the chat, because after I do this role play with Gabe, so you guys can kind of hear how it should flow, then I'll tackle those objections that you guys have, and then we'll kind of go from there. So, okay, Gabe, you there, bud?
I'm here.
There we go. Okay.
I just got off a phone call, so now I'm like live. I don't know what we're doing, but I got it. It's cool. I'm right in.
My man. Gabe is on Cityside Properties Group, so he's gonna be the buyer. I'm gonna be the agent on this role play. If you guys don't do role playing, highly recommend doing role playing. If you're on a team, if you're not on a team, you're an individual agent, you definitely have colleagues in this business that will role play with you. If you role play before you make your phone calls, like do it every morning, 7:30, 8 a.m., whatever, you will start feeling a lot more confident with it. And just let you know, just practice. So Gabe, let's go through this real quick. We'll act like this is a HAR lead. So it's again, I'm in Houston. HAR is our MLS. So we'll just assume that Gabe reached out about a listing. That's how I got his number. That's how I'm going to lead off with this. And then we'll see how the conversation goes. So ring.
Look.
Hey, Gabe, Michael Bass here, Cityside Properties. How are you?
Who?
Hey, this is Michael in real estate, man. You actually just inquired in about that property there at 123 Main Street. So just wanted to check and see what all questions you had.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Thank you so much for calling me. Yeah, I did. I saw the one over off of in Katy, 123 Main Street, and I had some questions. I see that it might be available, and I wanted to get some more information on it.
For sure, man. Yeah. Let me pull that up right now for sure. And I do see it is located there in the Katy area. Is that the specific area you're looking to stay within?
Yeah, I'm looking to live over in Katy. I currently live in the Cypress area.
Okay.
I heard Katy's got some pretty good schools, so I'm looking to move my entire family over that way because my family's growing. So
awesome, man. How many do you have in your family currently?
Right now, just two, just me and my wife. But we're looking to maybe have a couple kids in the next few years.
For sure. No, and congratulations on that next step. Hope all the best for that. Yeah, we can definitely get you into the Katy area. Katy does have, great schools. You can look up all the statistics on that as well. But what were those questions? I do have the property pulled up now. What were those questions you had about?
So, I really kind of I've never bought a home before, so I kind of I don't really know what to do.
Sure.
We have a $600,000 budget. And so I'm guessing I kind of wanted to see what the first options would be for me to kind of purchase a home, since I've never purchased one before. Right now we're renting in Cypress.
Yep.
So we wanted to maybe get some information on what it looks like to get a home over in Katy.
Man, I really am glad that you got in touch with me. I'm an expert in first-time home buyers. So I'm going to be able to make this very, very easy for you. I actually have a first-time home buyers guide as well, that whenever we meet the very first time, I'm going to actually go through with you and your wife, because it actually shows exactly step by step what to expect in the whole transaction. And then I'm going to give you that as well, so you can kind of study it and just know what's coming next. Because I know it's the worst, just not knowing, what's happening. So I'm going to make sure you know that. Well, I guess let me go through a few things with you real quick. The $600,000, I know that you said that's your budget. How'd you guys come up with that number? Like, did you get pre-approved already, or how did that happen?
No, we were kind of looking at some of these calculators that I see on the Zillow on the internet, and to see what we could kind of afford. Right now we're staying in a 4-bedroom, 3-bath rental property.
Yep.
With a pool in the backyard, and our rent's about $3,500. And so we were able to kind of, pay for that. So I'm guessing that's kind of what, that's kind of where I guess where $600,000 would put us at.
Got it, man. No, that's good. And those online calculators are really good tools for sure.
Sure.
And then I know you said that you're renting a few times here. When was that lease up again?
It ends in August.
Ends in August. Okay, cool. So really, I mean, we need to start getting on it and finding you guys a place.
Yeah, it ends at the end of August. I'm not exactly sure what the time frame goes and how long you actually need in order to buy a house.
For
But
sure,
we want
man.
to make sure we have ample time and get in on time for that one.
Oh yeah, no, that's not going to be an issue at all. Like I said, I'm going to go over all of that with you for sure. And just to make you feel better too, let's say we found a house today, made an offer on it today, and we closed 30 days, which that's the average. So let's say we close July 21st. Your first mortgage payment wouldn't actually be due until September 1st. So it's always 2 months past that close date. So you do not have to worry about paying double mortgage. We're not going to have to worry about that at all. So really, it's just about finding you guys that perfect home, and that's what I'm going to do for you. So no, that's fantastic. And then, man, I assume you reached out to me directly because you're not working with an agent currently. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah, I'm not working with an agent.
Perfect. Have you seen any homes as of yet? Like, have you seen an inside of any homes yet?
We've driven by a couple homes in our neighborhood over in Cypress, and then I know Katie's got some new construction out here there that we've been looking at, and so we're not really using an agent right now. We're just kind of kicking tires.
Perfect, man. No worries. Like I said, I'm glad that you reached out to me. The new construction homes they're not tricky so much but you still want to get representation on your side. First off, just so you know, it's completely free, right? So it doesn't cost you anything. But whenever you walk into any of those sales offices, those sales agents are there specifically to make the builder the most money. So you want someone on your side to look over the contract, to negotiate on your behalf, just to make sure that that whole transaction goes smoothly, from building it, or if it's already built, just to ensure all the warranties are there and you're getting the incentives and all that good stuff. So good thing is I can help you with that too. So whenever you guys go out there, I'll go out there with you. We'll be able to handle that together.
Awesome.
Cool. Now, I know that we were looking at those online calculators, which like I said, they're really good. The only thing that's kind of troublesome on that is that sometimes they don't have the right insurance on it. Sometimes they don't calculate the HOA. And the reason behind that is certain areas require flood insurance or maybe additional hazard insurance, such as like wind, hail, things like that, which can kind of affect the overall sales price. So really the first step in the home buying process is getting pre-approved, because it's going to give us that exact purchasing power you're going to want to stay within based off the areas, and if it's going to require those additional hazard insurance, anything like that. It'll also give us that pre-approval letter, which really mainly all sellers need in order to get inside the house. So we can go ahead and get that started. Do you have any questions over that, or does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense. So you're saying I need to speak with my bank to get like a pre-approval?
No, so yes and no, right? So of course, I've been in the business now many years. I have a lot of experience in the area. So I would want you to get pre-approved with whoever you're comfortable with, right? So whoever your bank is, go to them, check and see what their interest rates is. Definitely do that. But what I'm going to do also is I'm going to get a couple of my lenders that I trust a lot in there as well. And the reason we do that, because as your agent, I want to make sure that you get the best interest rate no matter what, because that at that end of the day, that's the main thing. So when you have 2 or 3 lenders fighting for your business, it ensures that you get the best interest rate. And then that ultimately lowers your mortgage payment, right?
Right.
Yeah. So we'll kind of do that simultaneously. You can talk to your bank. I'll get you in contact with a couple of my lenders as well. And then you'll be able to just really tackle that whole process and get that pre-approval letter.
Gotcha.
Cool. Well, I know that you're currently in a 4-bedroom, 3-bath house with a pool. I'm assuming 2-car garage. Tell me anything and everything about that property or about your perfect property you would want to get into. Like what else would you want me to know when doing these property searches?
Sure. Yeah. So 4-bedroom, we kind of need a 4-bedroom. I'd like to have a game room. I'd rather have a big 1-story than a 2-story.
Yeah.
And then if we could do a 3-car garage and throw that into that price range, that'd be awesome.
Perfect,
And
man.
I prefer, I don't really want to come in there and do a bunch of renovations. So I actually prefer something that's might be like newer construction,
Sure.
and probably no more than maybe like 6 years old.
Okay, no, that gives me an idea. And what I'll do actually is I'm going to pull up some properties that are, already built 6 or less years old, but I'm also going to go ahead and call around to builders, because a lot of times the builders won't list their properties on MLS if they're not, fully complete yet. And so
Yeah.
I'll call the builders, see if they have anything coming up that we might not know of, and then we can go tour those as well. So I'll give you kind of a couple of lists, and that way we can tackle pretty much everything, very quickly.
Cool.
Awesome, man. Well, based off everything that we talked about today, I'm going to go ahead and send you over those properties. I'm going to get you in touch with my preferred lender. And like I said, go ahead and reach out to your preferred mortgage company as well, just to see how, low we can get your interest rate, because that's the most important thing. And man, I definitely look forward to getting, you and your family into the Katy area and meeting you guys in person. Yeah, so be on the lookout for that email. I'm going to shoot you over that first time homebuyers guide too, so you can start looking at it, and I'll go over that with you whenever we meet up.
Okay. Yeah, that works.
Perfect, man. Any questions for me?
No, I look forward to being your friend.
Sounds good, man. Thanks. All right. Now, of course, we all wish that conversation would go that well. But they will go that well sometimes. And it is a fact. It's really how you talk to them and how comfortable you can get with them. Sometimes that's not going to happen, right? Sometimes they're at work, they need to get off the phone, sometimes this or that. But most times you can actually get through this whole script just by having a genuine conversation with them. So what I'm going to do now is look at some of these objections, kind of talk about that. And then I want to show you guys some things on follow-ups. I'm going to do all this really quick, but kind of on the follow-up side, and then open it up to any questions that you guys might have. So first objection here. Larry, what if they're renting and stuck in a lease for 6 months or more? Perfect question, Larry. So you would ask them if they're ready and able to make a move on a house if we found the perfect home right now. Most of the time it's a no. Most of the times, like, yeah, no, we'd have to wait till closer. Okay, no worries at all. Well, do you have any kind of buyout, process on your lease? Like, let's say that you pay $4,000, it gets you out of your lease or whatever. Do you have anything like that? Most people don't know. They have to go ask their apartment or landlord, but it's a question to ask, because how you can spin it is, well, I'll get the seller to buy you out of your lease. Like, if I could do that, would you be willing to do it? And they would say, well, yeah. I mean, how would you do that? Well, what we're going to do is we're going to, submit an offer, and we're going to get that seller to give you $4,000 or $5,000 in closing cost assistance. So it basically lowers your cash to close by $5,000 or $6,000, therefore offsetting the number for the lease. And you can kind of position it like that. That's one way. But let's say that that's not an option, right? They have to wait 6+ months. You just tell them, hey, I really appreciate making the contact with you. I'm glad that we got in touch. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put you on an automatic property campaign that's going to send you properties every week. And I'm also going to send you some open houses to go to, so you can start getting familiar with the areas. The reason why I'm going to do that is we're just too early to start looking at properties. Like, we need to start looking at properties whenever you're fully approved and we're ready to make an offer, because of how the market is. Those properties we look at today will not be available whenever we actually can buy them in 6 months. And you just have that conversation with them. They will be okay with it. And then you put them in your database and you follow up with them. That's what you would do, Larry. Objection here. Will it hurt a credit getting pre-approved again with your lender? Perfect question. So as long as it's within a specific time frame, no. And so a lot of these times when you're getting these questions, or I'm sorry, these inquiries, if they just got pre-approved, it's only been a day or two or whatever, no, it's completely fine. I think, and maybe somebody else knows in here specifically, I know for sure 2 weeks is good. Maybe 30 days, I'm gonna have to verify, but for sure within 2 weeks. If you were pre-approved a week ago and you run your credit again, it does not hurt your credit, because the bureaus know that you're going to shop around, or they think you're going to shop around for other mortgagers. And so they do not hit your credit. And so it's just educating them that. So Vi on here, I think Katie, I'm not sure, I'm from out of town. I heard Katy, Cypress, Pearlands are new and have good schools. Can I look at houses in that area, in those areas? So this actually does come up a lot. So what I would do on this is I would see where they work at, right? Where's your work located at? Because that might dictate where you might start. Let's say they work from home though, right? So yeah, we work from home. We have 2 kids. We just want to make sure they have good schools, whatever. What I would do is I would, and it's a little time, but I would schedule some properties in different days in those areas. And Cypress and Katy, I might knock out at the same time, just because, but Pearland I would do separate. And I would spend those times, show them those properties, go around like the popular area there in Cypress or there in Katy, show them that. And then based off of that, usually they'll end up narrowing it down to a specific 1 or 2 maybe, but that's what I would do in that. If they don't have, you know, a job that's in one of those, like if they don't have a driving parameter, which is big in Houston, I don't want to drive more than 45 minutes or 50 minutes. Then yeah, you would just have to kind of narrow it down like that, especially if they're from out of town, you would have to put a little more work into it. So that's what I would do. Angela, what if we have friends that are lenders, but their company is not a part of our trusted vendors list? Angela, real quick. When you say we have friends, like us personally, or the buyer has friends?
No, I meant like me. I have at least 3 friends that work for different mortgage companies, and they've all, you know, because I've told them, hey, I'm a new agent and whatever, and they've all told me, hey, if you ever need anything, reach out to me. I'll you know, get y'all set up, blah blah blah.
So what, I guess I'm a little confused on that. Why would they not be a part of your trusted vendor list then?
Well, no, you were saying earlier, like in the script, like, oh, hey, I'm going to shoot you some of the.
Oh, you muted yourself.
What if, do we have to go off like that list only? Or like, I'm saying, I have a friend that works for, you know, SBC Mortgage. Can I say, hey, I have a friend that works for SBC Mortgage. Let me get you his info. Or do I have to use like who EXP trusts? You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. So great question here. Every single agent has their own vendor list. You make your own vendor list. You have your own preferred lenders. EXP does not require you to use somebody.
Okay. I'm a baby agent. I don't know anything.
No worries. Great question. Great question. So you create that list yourself and then share that. And if there are new agents that don't have those, reach out to your mentors, your your sponsors, things like that, and they will be able to share them with you. So
great, thank you.
Sydney, interest rates are too high. I'm going to renew my lease. There are creative ways to get around this. I just had my preferred lender on our team meeting yesterday. I thought this was phenomenal. So what he's actually kind of educating and coaching his clients and his agents to do is basically get, of course, you know, we're going to get the offer executed. So let's say we're back and forth and we agree on 250 and there's no other offers. This is going to be it's not a multiple offer situation. So we agree at 250. So once you agree at 250, you can raise the price by $5,000 or $10,000. And then you get a seller credit for that exact same amount. So to the seller, it is the same price. It's the same net. So we would offer them 260. Let's make it easy. And then we would ask the seller to give us $10,000 in closing costs. So it's still that 250 that the seller agreed upon. What that does is that you're able to buy down the rate a tremendous amount by basically a point. So instead of like 6.125, it would be 5.125 interest rate. And Sydney, I can send this to you and you can send it out to everyone. It's amazing on the 5-year analysis how much money they save if they do that. And those are ways those are like, I don't know, strategic ways of saying, hey, no, I get the interest rates high, but we have strategies with our lenders to be able to overcome that. And this is how we're going to do it. And this is the cost analysis. Like you show your client, this is the cost analysis. This is how much money you would save. Because we don't know, when the interest rate is going to go back down. But if you have a 5.125, 5 years from now, it goes back down to 3.75, refinance. But that's how I would go about it. Just giving them those options. And Sydney, I'll email you that too, because it is very interesting. We learned about that yesterday. So Elizabeth, what if they're concerned about talking to 3 or 4 lenders? Will it affect their credit score if they're shopping with so many lenders? Great question here again. From my understanding, and I am not a financial expert by any means, but you can, as long as it's within that time frame, shop quite a few lenders. Now, I don't ever recommend somebody shopping 5, 6, 7. That's just unnecessary. I think if you're shopping 3 or 4 lenders, you don't need to shop anymore. Like that, from those 3 or 4, you're going to be able to get them to fight for the business to get the lowest interest rate. So, but as long as it's within that specific time frame, you're not going to have any issues. It's not going to affect their credit anymore. Yeah, and this one says an ARM loan is beneficial now than refinance down the line. Yeah, I mean, again, that's for the lender. Talk with the lender about your options. If you guys have trusted lenders, talk to them about how they can do that. Like, what can they do in order to, help you guys get these deals? All right, there's a lot of these coming in. I don't know if we're going to do these. I'll do all of them. Let me see here. ARM. Okay, Alicia, on the motivation if they own a home, do you prefer to turn this conversation into a listing appointment? So I do, but not right away. So that's because that's not why the conversation started. The conversation started because of them wanting to purchase a house, right? And so what I do is I mention to them, like I said, I do a credit on the buy side because I'm going to list their house. So say, hey, perfect. I'm glad you got a hold of me. I can actually help you on both sides. And I actually have a great promotion whenever you use me on selling your home and purchasing your home. I actually give you 0.5% back to your closing costs when you purchase your house with me. So I look forward to that. And I tell them, I don't really want to talk on that too much right now, but at the end of this phone call, I'm going to get your address, and that way I can do some research and call you back. And that's what I do. So at the end of the conversation on the summary or whatever, on the closing aspect of it, that's what I do. I say, hey, well, what was that address again? 123 Main Street. Okay, great. I'm going to do some research on this and I'm going to call you back and we'll talk specifically about listing your house. That's what I do, because I don't know, like I haven't ran the comps on our house. I don't know, pricing, average days on market, any of that. That's what I would do. Elizabeth, Eisenbach, Conte, maybe. Yeah, we can get you that. Sydney, the first time home buyer guide, I guess if you'll make a note on that for Elizabeth. Oh,
Sure,
you already responded. It's on Basecamp.
Thank you.
Okay, Anna Ortiz, Spanish speakers typically shop for realtors and or will have a report with a realtor, then still go and look for houses with other. Do you have an idea on how to get them to stick with you? So my experience with I guess Spanish speaking buyers like me personally is once you earn their business, you earn their business for life. And it's about earning their initial business. So you have to ask the right questions in order to, I guess, learn that they're, working with multiple realtors or whatever. And then you have to just straight up ask them, well, if I can show you I'm the best agent for the job, my negotiation tactics, blah, 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 whatever it is, are you willing to work with me exclusively? Do I have that opportunity? If the answer is no, move on. If the answer is yes, meet with them, go over the home buyer guide with them, try to create as much value as possible for them to choose you as the realtor. Once they choose you, they will use you usually forever if you have a good follow-up system. Sydney, have you read all these? Is there another really good one? I don't know if you've read all of them because I think I can only do one more and then I need to go to the follow-up stuff. Hang on, let me read this. Read these as well.
There was Deborah's.
Deborah. Okay, from the client yesterday. So
Yes.
I'm getting concerned over the economy and wondering if it's wise to even have a weekend house with everything so crazy. What do you think? Okay, that's a great question. I guess my question to you, Deborah, is she gonna, or are they gonna VRBO it? Or are they gonna are they using this as an investment as well? Or is it completely a weekend house? Oh, I think you're muted, Deborah.
Hi. Yeah, no, they are wanting to use it for personal, but I do have another client that wants it for a VRBO. So I have two out, well, actually three looking in that same Lake Conroe area.
It's tough. That's a tough one. When it's personal use, what you can do.
Yeah.
You can look at the current market there and you can say, well, I mean, here's how strong the market is still. We cannot predict the future, but worst case, here's the rental rates as well. Like you can give them information when it's the personal use one, but it's tough because it's their money. It's their investment. So you can just give them factual info on that. If there's here is if we needed to sell it, we could definitely sell it based off these past experience. We could definitely get it rented out. You mentioned you could definitely put it in a VRBO pool. Here's some VRBOs in the area, like some statistics. There's a great website for that. And I can't think of it off the top of my head, but if I Google it, I could find it. But that gives you statistics in the zip code. Give them that information.
Okay.
The VRBO one is a lot easier because it's an investment. I mean, you're going to be able to continue to get some income from that. And as long as you continue to get that income, you'll be fine. Worst case, here's the long-term rental rates. So let's say VRBO is not going well. Here's what you can typically get on a year-to-year basis. We can get long-term tenants in there, absolute worst case. So just giving them factual information and letting them decide. Yeah, it is a concerning thing right now. Should I buy a second house or not? It's up to you. It's your money kind of thing, but you can give them factual info. Okay, so I'm gonna have to move on from that. You guys can definitely email me directly. Let me put my my email down here with any of these objections I didn't get to, and I will respond to you. There we go. So that's my email. If I didn't get to you, email me those objections and I'll respond to you. So I did want to show you guys this really quick. I know we're running out of time here. It's about follow-up. Follow-up is huge. I know we have to lead gen, but lead follow-up is key as well. And I don't think most agents don't do it really well. So first and foremost, get you some kind of CRM system that you use. If you're using an old paper method, stop. Do not use that. It's not going to be efficient. There's just no way. I mean, we talk to hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people every few months, every year. If you're following up with them efficiently, you're putting them in your database or your CRM, and then you're checking in with them. There's just no way to do that from a paper format. So get a system like a KV Core system that you can input that thing in there one time. You can put automated drips on them, and then you can create follow-ups. The follow-ups here are key, and I want to show you one. This is my biggest success that I've ever had, even though I have a lot of these. I'm not going to go through the actual text, but I want you to see the actual follow-up that I did with this client. So I got her, this is the text screen, right? Y'all can see that? Yeah. Okay, cool. So I received this lead October 1st, 2016. Okay. I was talking to her, messaging her back and forth, had some properties scheduled. This was in Midtown. So October 1st, and then here is October 28th. Okay. So this was a solid month of good communication and showing her properties. Okay. No offers or whatnot, but good communication and not showing her properties. This happens with agents all the time, and newer agents, I think, especially get discouraged. Don't get discouraged. This is part of the process. So my philosophy is if I show you a property, you don't ghost me ever. I'm going to check in with you forever unless you tell me to stop, which I'm going to show you. So October 28th, and here's a month, November 28th. There's a month go by. These are me. She hasn't responded. Here's December 16th. Hey, happy holidays, right? So 2 months went by. January, there's 3 months because we're into February. And look, so after 3 months, she said, hey, we're currently pushing back our time frame. 3 months of me reaching out to her, and this is what she responded to me. That's fine with me. This is part of the process, so it doesn't affect me any. It should not affect you. That's the main thing. Don't let this stuff affect you guys. It's just part of it. Hey, thanks for letting me know. I absolutely will continue to check in. So February, and then here goes another one. February, March, April, May, and then she responds in May. And so again, some back and forth for a little bit here. May 14th, 15th, 17th, 18th, 20th. So we're actually getting some really good communication here. right? Here's June. We're going back and forth a lot, but here we go. July 31st, okay, to October 24th. I'm talking about 3-month gaps in here, 3 times where she did not respond to me. But I kept going, kept asking her, hey, what's up? And guess what? In January of that following year, so now from this point forward, she ends up purchasing this house. This is a $780,000 house. At the time, that was my most expensive purchase, buyer purchase. And I like showing this because most agents would have stopped even trying to talk to her. And anybody, how long did this take me to write this text message? I mean, 20 seconds. It took me 20 seconds to do that. And I didn't think about it again until the next month, or I guess 2 weeks. I put a follow-up for 2 weeks. Didn't think about it again. So the reason I show you this is because this is completely normal for people to do this. Do not get discouraged by it. It does not mean you're a bad agent. It doesn't mean anything. It means people are busy. They get super busy. They weren't really ready to purchase. And then you're kind of, you're there and they don't want to waste your time. They don't want to do this. They don't want to do that. It's not you though. Continue to do your follow-up, continue to check in, and you will be surprised by how many people will eventually respond, apologize for their delay, and end up purchasing a house from you. So I love showing that. I know we're a little over here, so I'll take a couple of questions and then we'll call it a day. Does anybody have any questions for me?
Hey, I put my question in the chat, but you skipped it.
Oh,
Could
Trixie.
you-
Yeah, I'll read
Yes.
that. So how should I reply to this? I met them at an open house. We don't have a required timetable to purchase because I can work remotely. And we mentioned we have just started being a bit more serious. We're also thinking that in light of what is going on in the market, we may sit tight and see what happens with the housing market. That house was very interesting. Honestly, it seems like a very good price, so we had to look at it. We were also thinking of maybe leasing out our South Lake house. Not sure if we will sell or lease. So well, let me ask you, Trixie, do you have the address to that South Lake house of theirs?
Yes, 74.
Oh, I don't need
seven-
it. No,
oh.
I don't need it, Trixie. I was just, the reason I'm asking, I would definitely do a market analysis with both for sell, like selling it and listing it. And I would show them, because more than likely, hey, you could sell this and get this price. We could sell it within 2 weeks because more than likely you can, and you can get this price for it. Of course, we can rent it as well for these. And here's like the average days on market that we would be able to do on that. So the market is very good. The interest rate, and I would just tell her again, and I would mention these little things. There's so many creative, strategic ways to get the interest rates lower. And again, I'll lead back into, you make an offer on a house, you negotiate a price, and then what you do is you go back to listing and you say, hey, we've had conversations with this with their lender, and they've came up with an awesome creative idea. I think we want to do it, right? You've already agreed to it. Here's how it works. They want us to increase the price by 5,000, by 10,000, and then get a seller credit for that. The reason we're doing that is it's going to lower it a whole percentage. It lowers the interest rate a whole percentage, and it's the same net to your seller. And then as long as it's a reasonable realtor on the other side, they're going to be able to explain that to the seller. The only hiccup would be is if it doesn't appraise. So if it's really close to the appraisal issue, that would be an issue. But don't bring up appraisal issues to your buyer. Just give them an option. Like, hey, we can do this to get the interest rates even lower, to get you guys into a more perfect house that you would like. You could even sell this one. Just give them all the options. And then you would kind of just talk to them about it. But it's about giving them all their options. Yeah.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome. Anyone else?
Hi, Michael. Hey, it's Deborah.
Hey, Deborah.
I saw your the thing you were just showing us about your text, but do you have any script or anything about what all your follow-up was about?
This is a great question. I need to create it. I need to create one because what I actually do, Deborah, is I look at my previous text and I copy it, but I change things. That's it. I mean, I don't copy and paste it, but I basically say the same thing, but I say it differently. And I just continue to go about doing that. And I just continue to do it and continue to do it. And then on people that are on the fence about buying, like I'll throw in some properties. Like, hey, these just came up in your area. These are phenomenal. Any interest in, you have any questions over this? And so again, it's just about creating that value with them as well. But I don't have, unfortunately, a script. I mean, but I will say this, less is better. I mean, some of these texts seriously say, hey, just wanted to check in. Any questions about the market currently? Question mark. Thanks. Hey, here's a few properties that just popped up. Let me know if you're interested. Send it over. Hey, here's a brand new home on the market. Like very straightforward and not too fancy. When I was a new agent, I would get so stressed out about being perfectly worded. I even got my business associate. I don't know if any of you guys, some of you guys know Jeff, and it's funny because Jeff, you can imagine what Jeff said, but I'd be like, hey, Jeff, read this email. He wouldn't look at me and he would say, it's great, send it. And honestly, I appreciate that because I understand what he meant. It doesn't matter. Like you don't have to create paragraphs. I mean, just straight and to the point. And it's fine.
Right.
Yeah.
And did you log it in KV Core the whole time?
Yes. Yep. Okay. So every time I send a message or whatever, I've made a note, sent text, sent property, then I create a task. Always create task. And I would set it for 2 weeks or a month or whatever it is. If you have someone in your database, they should have a task associated with them for everyone, every single one of them. If you don't have a task associated with it, you're doing it wrong.
Did you go into the system? You know how when you set up your campaign or whatever it's doing, your things in there, did you change any of that? Or, because I mean, is that what you're talking about when you said the drip?
So I don't actually do a lot of drips on my people that I know that I've talked to, I've spoken to. I just use KV Core for those folks specifically for reminders, to remind me to call them, to remind me to text them or whatever. The drip campaigns are more for people that I've never spoken to, or maybe I've never met them and they ghosted me. And so I'm just trying to get them to respond. That's what I would use the drips for.
Thanks.
You're welcome. Gabe, did you have a question?
Yeah, I did. So one of the things I pretty heavily started using KV Core within the last few weeks, which I should have been doing it a long time ago. But so the problem that I feel like I'm having is, do you text them through KV Core or do you text them through your phone and then update your notes in KV Core?
It's a great question. So I know you can pay a certain amount a month to get a specific phone number through KV Core. I don't even know the cost of it.
Like 27 bucks.
27 bucks a month. And I think you can have your number. And I think that would be pretty beneficial if you do that, but I don't. Like I do everything on my Mac and everything's, I guess, Apple. It's so easy for me to text through my computer that I seriously just copy and paste the number into my text. And that's what I do.
So you just add a note. So you'll just add a note of the text that you sent over.
Correct. Yeah. Just copy and pasting it.
Yeah. Cause what I've been finding myself doing is, I'll text through KV Core and then I'll say, hey, this is my CRM. Feel free to call me at my personal cell phone number whenever, if you have any questions.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's a good way to do it.
All right.
Cool. All right, one more. Any other questions before I let you guys out of here?
The scripts are going to be emailed to us, right, Mr. Michael? Or
they are. Yes, Sydney will email you those scripts. All right, cool. Well, thanks everyone for joining. Really appreciate the time. And then Melinda, you can email me and I'll share my lender with you. Okay, cool. Let's stop recording.